Shadow Lake does not appear to visitors, it appears to records. For decades, the town surfaced not through sightings, but through paperwork. County tax logs from northern Wisconsin would list Shadow Lake as a native, active township every October. Utility reports showed brief spikes in water usage. Emergency dispatch archives contained calls routed from an area that, according to maps, did not exist. Every report followed the same pattern. The town was listed for 3 days, then it vanished again. No demolition permits, no relocation orders, no missing persons officially tied to it. The first serious investigation began in 1989, when a state surveyor named Daniel Hargraves was tasked with updating floodplain maps near Lake Nocturne. His aerial photographs showed something impossible, a grid of streets, docks, and buildings reflected in the fog rolling off the lake. The images were time-stamped, verified, and archived. When the survey team returned 48 hours later, the land was empty shoreline. No foundations, no roads, no evidence a town had ever stood there. But the fog patterns matched the photographs exactly, and Daniel Hargraves never filed another report. His final note, entered into the system at 4:17 a.m., contained only one line: Shadow Lake is occupied. After Daniel Hargraves' disappearance, Shadow Lake was quietly flagged inside state systems, not as a location, as an anomaly. Internal memos from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources advised field workers to avoid logging irregular fog zones near Lake Nocturne during October. The wording was careful, bureaucratic, but the intent was clear. Something was being avoided, not investigated. Then came the recordings. In 1996, a 911 operator named Lisa Marino noticed something odd during a routine audit. Over several years, calls had come in from the same GPS coordinates that placed the caller directly over open water. The voices were calm. They didn't report emergencies. They asked questions. What year is it? Is the bridge still standing? Did the school reopen? When operators asked for clarification, the line would fill with wind and a low hum, like pressure moving through a pipe, before disconnecting. One call lasted long enough for Lisa to document a name, Margaret Hale. That name appeared again months later in a handwritten letter mailed to the county clerk's office. No return address, no postage stamp. Inside was a single page. It listed families, street names, a map drawn by hand, matching almost exactly the grid from Daniel Hargraves' aerial photographs. At the bottom, one sentence was underlined twice. We are still here, but the lake doesn't let us stay. The letter was entered into evidence, then quietly removed. And after 1996, the call stopped. But every October for 3 days, Shadow Lake still appears, not on maps, not on signs, but where records refuse to explain themselves. In 2004, a survey team from the University of Wisconsin attempted to document Lake Nocturne using ground-penetrating radar. The project was never completed. What they found didn't match any known geological structure. Beneath the lake bed, the scans showed straight lines, foundations, roadways, rectangular voids where basements should not exist. An entire town, still intact, but submerged and sealed. According to internal correspondence later obtained through a record request, the radar equipment repeatedly malfunctioned when passing over one specific area, the center of what maps from the 1930s labeled as Shadow Lake Township. The data corrupted itself. Files saved twice showed different layouts. Timestamps rewrote themselves. One technician resigned on site. He left behind a handwritten note that read only, "It's not underwater. We are." That was the last formal attempt to study the area. Today, Lake Nocturne is classified as a restricted environmental zone. Fishing is banned. Drones lose signal. Satellite imagery blurs the surface into a uniform gray patch, manually overwritten according to a former contractor. But locals still know the dates. Every October between the 12th and the 15th, emergency dispatch receives a surge of misrouted signals, static heavy calls that never complete, GPS pings that appear briefly, then relocate themselves backward along closed roads. And once, in 2018, a voicemail was left on a ranger station phone that had been disconnected for years. The message was short, a woman's voice, clear, unafraid. "Tell them we didn't disappear," she said. "We stayed." Shadow Lake does not reappear for everyone. It doesn't need witnesses. It only needs time, because some towns aren't lost to disaster or neglect. Some are removed carefully, when leaving them behind would be worse than erasing them. And every year, when the fog rolls in just right over Lake Nocturne, the surface stays calm, too calm, as if something underneath is still waiting for permission to come back.